Now let's look at a little more complex one with radicals in denominators. We're going to look at number 46 here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so very similar to what I did on the last problem. I've got radical 6. How do I get rid of that? I multiply by radical 6, top and bottom. Now you got to be really careful on the top. You've got a binomial up there. So you need to put that in parentheses. When I multiply on the top by that radical 6, I have to distribute it. So I'm going to get negative 5 radical 6. Can't multiply the 5 and 6 because 6 is under the radical. And then plus radical, and I'm going to do the 2 times the 6, so it's radical 12. Now, we're going to be able to simplify radical 12 a little bit here in a second, but let's get the bottom down. So on the bottom, I have radical 6 times radical 6, which is 6. I got rid of the radical on the bottom. Now, don't just assume you're done, because sometimes we can simplify things on the top. So I'm going to break down 12. Square root of 12 is 2 times 6, 2 times 3. So I have a pair of 2's, so radical 12 can be broken down into 2 radical 3. So I have negative 5 radical 6 plus 2 radical 3 all over 6. Now, I can't do anything else here. The one thing you want to check is if there is a number that can be taken out of all 3 of these, a common factor, then you need to reduce it by that. In this case, you can't. Okay, so this one cannot be simplified, so this would be our answer right here. Let's go to 52. Now it's something a little bit different. Okay, now you've done some stuff with radicals before, but I don't think you've gotten into any where there's a binomial on the bottom. You have to multiply the bottom to get rid of the radical by what's called the conjugate. Okay, so the conjugate, if I have 3 plus 2 square root 5, if I said what's the conjugate, it would be 3 minus 2 square root 5. So same terms, you just change the sign in the middle. And you'll see that multiplying by that will get rid of radicals in the denominator. So we're going to, because we have more than one term down there, we're going to multiply by the conjugate, which is 5 plus 3 radical 5. We're going to multiply on the top by 5 plus 3 radical 5. Okay, on the bottom, we do 5 times 5, which is 25. And then I do 5 times that, which would be plus 15 radical 5. And then notice when I do this, I get minus 15 radical 5. And then I have 3 radical 5 times 3 radical 5. It's going to be negative, but multiply your 3's, that's 9. So radical 5 times radical 5 is 5. So my last term is going to be minus 45 there. Now notice what happens. These drop out. You have 15 radical 5 minus 15 radical 5. So on the bottom, I really end up with 25 minus 45, which is negative 20. On the top, I got to do the multiplication here, which means I have to distribute. So I'm going to have 15 plus 9 radical 5. So I have 15 plus 9 radical 5 on the top. Okay? You just have to check these numbers and see if you can reduce anything. Well, there's no common factors of all these, so nothing can really be reduced. This is one acceptable form of the answer. When you check on the answer keys, though, they're going to not put any negatives on the bottom. So here's a way to do that. You basically just change your signs on the top and the bottom. They like to have the number on the bottom be positive. You don't have to do this, but if you change that to 20, then it becomes negative 15 on top and negative 9 radical 5. It's like you've multiplied the top and bottom by negative 1. They just think that's a better form of the answer. So either this or this one is okay.